and welcome to another review from Colour with Claire. Today I have a set of brand new Posca coloured pencils to show you. These are of course made by the same company who produce Posca pens, a medium that I use a heck of a lot in my colouring and other projects. I couldn't be without them. Now, knowing how good the quality of their paint pens are, I have had high hopes for these pencils since I found out about them a few months ago. Currently, they come in a set of 36 only, but they will be released as smaller, curated sets of 6 and 12 in the near future. They're also available open stock, which is a huge bonus. In fact, if you're on the fence at all about these pencils at the end of this video, I'd actively encourage you to grab a couple of single pencils before you commit to the larger set. So let's have a look. The packaging for this set is brilliant and surprisingly heavy. I'll get onto that in a second, but I just want to show you the plastic sleeve that it comes in. This has all the colour names and other details on. Each pencil has a name and a number so that you can chart them and reference back to your chart if you wish. Very, very handy. Now, tins are great, boxes are great, but it gives you a storage solution and also a way to lay them out when you're using them, which makes it really, really easy to grab the different colours. So they've got this here, a strong elastic, which keeps the layers together, but other than that, they float. Basically, there's no clip or closure, which is actually quite convenient because it takes just seconds to have each tray out in front of you with every single colour available to pluck, use, and then stack them up again. It really does feel very well made and strong, so I have no doubt that the pencils are safe and protected in this type of case. The lid is even heavy. It's a very thick acrylic lid, and it does have slots to curve around each pencil and keep them nice and protected. So, the pencils themselves come pre-sharpened with a squared off tip. I've sharpened mine, as I always recommend doing with new pencils, and they have a round barrel which feels super thick. If my measurements are correct, it's 8mm thick with a core width of just under 5mm, so the leads are really solid and substantial. Detail on the barrel is minimal. You've got the Posca name, the Mitsubishi pencil name, and then on the top you have your silver printed number that corresponds to the chart that I showed you on the plastic sleeve. The ends are dipped in the core colour, so you can see overall it's a very basic looking pencil in terms of design. However, it feels more professional to me somehow. It almost feels like buying technical pencils, but I've got no way of describing what I mean by that. I guess it's because they have multiple uses, which I'll come on to. They have that practical side as well as being a fun art supply. So let's take a look at the colours included in this 36 set. Now obviously the more colours the better when it comes to pencils, so 36 does not sound like a lot, I'll agree. I'd have loved to have more colours, and I hope there'll be larger sets emerging in the future. The great thing about these pencils is that the colours match up to Posca paint pen colours, so if you wanted to do a mixed media piece while keeping the colours similar, you've got that ability. The main colour this set lacks is purple. We only have this light lavender lilac-y shade here, and then a couple of magentas and red violets, but nothing that I'd class as a true purple. The greens and blues are quite good though, and there's even a couple of colours suitable for skin tones here. I think the main draw of these pencils is their application and vibrancy. I know from speaking to Posca representatives that their main focus was to create a pencil with super vibrant, punchy colour that can be built in intensity depending on how they're layered. They also share a great feature with their paint pen cousins in that the lighter colours show up very well over darker ones, something you don't often see with coloured pencils. They aren't watercolour pencils, yet they can be dipped in water for 60 seconds and then used to create a painterly effect, the same of which applies to turpentine, so you have the option to create some really cool effects here. The leads are made up of both oil and wax, as all coloured pencils are, but they have a slightly higher concentration of oil, so they're classed as oil-based pencils. The oil gives them the strength and allows them to be layered without getting waxy, but in practice they do feel like a soft core pencil, which is the best of both worlds in my opinion. The pigment lays down with barely any pressure and it blends like an absolute dream, so creamy and packed with pigment. There's no hint of scratchiness at all with these pencils. They are super smooth on the paper and just seem to melt together effortlessly. I mentioned earlier they have multiple uses, and although this is true, it is not their main selling point, so just how well this works is variable, I think. For instance, they're purported to write on lots of different surfaces, including wood, metal, stone, and glass. As you can see, the results fluctuate, And I wouldn't say I'd buy them specifically for this purpose. I think you're better off sticking to the paint pens for that. But again, the option is there. They're really opaque on black. Here's a quick comparison of other pencil sets, Polychromos, Prismacolor and Luminance, so you can see how opaque they are on a darker surface. Now I must admit from the price, I was expecting these to be light fast tested. What I've gleaned from the guys at Posca is that the pencils are light resistant to varying degrees depending on the pigment, but they haven't been officially tested against something like the blue wool scale, which would confirm the level of light fastness for each. So there's no concrete answer on that, other than some colours will be really light fast, maybe even on the level of pencils like Caran d'Ache Luminance and Derwent Lightfast, others not so much. But the pencils were made really to prioritise the brightness of colours and the usability rather than to be able to create pieces that will stand up to years in museums or galleries. So take from that what you will. In my amateur opinion, I can only vouch for the fact that they certainly do pack a punch in terms of striking colour and fluid blending, so for my purposes they're fabulous. As I mentioned, they are pricey. I will leave links in the description below so you can get up-to-date prices whenever it be that you're watching this video. But if you're like me, a pencil fiend who needs anything new and exciting in their collection, you'll want these no matter what. Cult Pens offer lay-by payments, which allows you to pay for anything on their website in 6 weekly instalments, which I know will be appreciated by many of you. I've personally used the service when I bought the big set of Chameleon fine liners, and all went smoothly, so I can definitely vouch for lay-by myself. Other than that, the pencils sharpen really well and hold their point as you would expect an oil-based pencil to do. There's nothing bad that I can say about these pencils. They're absolutely lovely to use. They do remind me of a Prismacolor, even though they're not quite as crumbly and buttery as a Prismacolor. But if you're looking for something that really packs a punch with colour, you can't go wrong with these. I'm desperate for Posca to release more colours, so hopefully that will happen. And I'll keep you updated on my socials if I hear anything. I hope you've enjoyed the review. If so, please consider subscribing to my channel for more art supply and colouring reviews and tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon on Colour with Claire.